In our number 10 spot, we have the table throwing demon. Okay, here's some crazy footage for you of a possible real life demon. I mean, heck, the Bible has warned us that demons are tricky and they play with us and influence us and make us feel fear. Well, that is seemingly exactly what happens in the video I'm about to show you. Here we have a woman who is sitting in what looks like a banquet hall, and she's on her cell phone when she hears a chair move. She turns around and sees nothing, but then the chair beside her moves and she freaks out and falls on the floor. Then a bunch of chairs and tables begin to move and you see her get so frightened that she tries to stand up and then she falls on the floor again. She could have fainted too, it's kind of unclear. The footage is so wild and it's so clear that this woman isn't an actress and that this isn't edited footage. It's too natural, and I mean, if she is, then man, she deserves an Oscar. If you're liking this video, don't forget to give it a like, as it will really help us out. In our number 9 spot, we have Satan. Well, duh, if there was going to be one demon on this list that we all know about, obviously it was going to be Satan himself. Satan was once a guardian cherub, but God found wickedness within him, or so is said in Ezekiel 28:12-15. Luke has also mentioned that Jesus saw Satan fall from heaven like a lightning bolt, and that is how he gained the name of fallen angel. Something that I didn't know until this video though is that apparently Satan does not rule over hell, but is punished and just imprisoned with the other souls in hell. That's interesting. From my understanding, Satan is the king and creator of demons, and these demons have influence and infiltrate society and cause sadness and havoc. So basically we're living amongst many demons these days. Everywhere you look, everything you hear or read, there's some kind of messaging that hits an emotional chord that makes you feel understood. But then you'll hear something else that is a conflicting perspective, and you also feel understood from that. And the result is that you're left confused and you feel pulled in many directions, and you will feel vulnerable, and that's when it will be easy to control you. Beware of the influential demons like Satan. In our number 8 spot, we have the shapeshifters. Guys, I'm a little shocked that the Bible subtly points to shapeshifters. I guess I just assumed that this was a modern day conspiracy theory fueled by the Marvel movies, but no, there is evidence to suggest that shapeshifters have been around and spoken about since before the Bible. Mark said, after these things he appeared in another form to 2 of them as they were walking into the country. He appeared in another form to 2 of them as they were walking into the country. That's it, they exist. I'm a believer. Also, what's the consensus? Should we just now conclude that Obama's security guard is indeed a shapeshifter? I feel like yes. Who's a believer? Let me know in the comment section below. In our number 7 spot, we have the chair moving demon. Okay, this could be just a ghost or a demon. I mean, who knows? In this clip, you see a girl in perhaps a classroom or a common area, as there are computers and lounge chairs, and she seems to be looking at something when suddenly she runs out of the room. Then a few moments later, you see the lounge chair move and the door close. The ghost/demon is having a meeting, so he wanted his privacy, guys. The devil requires privacy. Okay, but seriously, what is this? How is this footage not more mainstream? I'm scared. I hope somebody called a priest after witnessing this footage. This place definitely needs to be cleansed. In fact, we should get the priests of the world to just cleanse the world. We may just need a general world cleansing, because clearly the demons are among us, judging by this video. I'm scared. I want my mom. In our number 6 spot, we have the reptile people. Okay guys, we know that there are many references to reptiles in the Bible. I mean, if you don't, then I'm here to tell you that indeed there are. In fact, the Bible starts with Adam and Eve is persuaded by the snake to eat the forbidden fruit, so the stories really begin right away. But there have been evidence of people believing in the reptile people for many centuries, even dating back to ancient Mesopotamia, where they created an artifact called the Ubaid lizard man, which has made people believe that it is possible that they worshipped lizard people, the reptiles. In Revelation 12:9, it is said, quote, "And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him." The serpent was thrown down to earth, eh? Sounds a lot like a reptile person confirmation to me. Now, whether or not they are demons, that is the question. There have been way too many reptile Hollywood sightings to count, so beware, folks. In our number 5 spot, we have the lawless one. In the Bible, 2 Thessalonians 2:9, I might have pronounced that wrong, sorry, it's been a while since I've been to church. Thessalonians 2:9, we are warned about the lawless one who is doing the work of Satan, aka a demon. The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders. Who exactly this message is referring to? I mean, it could be any number of people in history that promised wonders and things that they could not keep. Historical political leaders that may have tricked the masses. I mean, there have been many, from Genghis Khan to presidents in this day and age. So who's to say who this verse is speaking about, but perhaps at this point this benevolent demon has reincarnated many times over, considering the Bible stories are from thousands of years ago. In our number 4 spot, we have the man that couldn't speak. Demons are spoken about so much in the Bible, and on many accounts, stories are told where it is believed that people have come across these demons. Mark speaks about a demon that made someone's son unable to speak. This demon caused its victim to have epileptic-like seizures, in which he was at times thrown down to wallow on the ground and made to foam at the mouth. No one was able to get rid of this demon but Jesus, after saying to the spirit, "Deaf and dumb spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more." This has led a lot of people over the thousands of years to believe that mental illness is really just demonic possession. Obviously, we know better now about what mental illness is, but you may be surprised to hear that there are still a lot of people that believe that multiple personality disorder is demonic possession. In our number 3 spot, we have the parking lot demon. Years ago, a news station in Serbia called Channel 4 reported the wildest story. Apparently, a woman was in a parking lot when suddenly something invisible started chasing her, and whatever it was jumped from one lamp post to the other. She was so frightened that she went to the police to report that a maniac was chasing her. The police took a look at the footage and couldn't believe what they saw. It looked to be a transparent human running back and forth. Some believe it to be someone from another universe glitching into ours, but the woman swears that it was chasing her, so some believe that it was a demon. It's so crazy to see, and I read that the Bible warned us about a spirit called Abaddon, whom is the leader of the demons, and honestly this could very well be proof of one of the Abaddon demons, as this woman was definitely terrorized by something. In our number 2 spot, we have the demon selfie. This is a picture of a demon and a boy, and it's crazy to see. This pic isn't even blurry, so that makes it more horrifying. Basically, a mom from Pennsylvania named Heather was taking a picture of her son. When she looked at the photo, she saw a mysterious person with black eyes creeping out from behind him. She said that there was no one in sight when she was taking her photo but her son. So that is ridiculously insane. This looks like a demon porcelain doll in my opinion. Oh my gosh, that is just the most terrifying. Imagine if she was home alone with her son. I truly hope not. I would never ever want to be home alone again if this happened to me. In our number 1 spot, we have the Brazilian Demon Man. Yo, this has to be the scariest thing I've ever seen. Okay, maybe not, but it is still terrifying to think that multiple people witnessed this. Okay, so in 2015, many reports were being filed about a strange demon-like wolf man in Brazil. It started popping up everywhere, and then someone managed to review street footage and got it captured in a still shot. Here we have a man who looks like he's part wolf, or straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster, to be honest. He has long pointy ears and strange wolf-like legs and appears to have a small tail. The shot is blurry as it's night and pitch black, but if this isn't a demon, then I don't know what is. This is definitely one of the demons that the Bible warned us about. Hey Brazilians, beware.
And we're starting off with this photograph of the types of cells that were used to house supposed witches during the Salem witch trials. The Salem witch trials were a very dark and infamous chapter in American history that unfolded in the late 17th century. Taking place in Salem, Massachusetts, the trials were fueled by a climate of fear, superstition, and religious fervor. Accusations of witchcraft spread like wildfire, just tearing apart families and communities. It all began when a group of young girls claimed to be afflicted by strange ailments and started pointing fingers at certain certain individuals as the source of their suffering, all of which were kind of outcasts in the community. And these accusations quickly snowballed. It led to mass hysteria and just a frenzy of trials. The accused were subjected to flawed and biased legal proceedings. Evidence and confessions were obtained under duress and were deemed admissible, and 19 innocent people were ultimately convicted and put to death. Historical documents and illustrations related to the Salem witch trials were often concealed by authorities, seeking to downplay the events and distance themselves from the mass hysteria that was going on at the time. At number 9, we have Pope Pius XII's secret wartime documents. These documents, which were previously hidden within the Vatican's secret archives, were released in 2020, and they reveal some pretty intriguing stuff about the Vatican during World War II and the Pope's relationship with the leader of the Third Reich. These documents, spanning loads of pages, give us a peek behind the curtain, if you will, of Pope Pius's actions during one of the darkest times in history. People were hoping for some concrete answers about the Pope's stance during this time, but it turns out it's a bit of a mixed bag. Apparently there's no definitive evidence in these documents that he actively denounced the actions of the Third Reich, or was at least doing enough to try and help the people. And as it turns out, he even had contact with Mr. H himself. There is also some evidence, of course, he was working behind the scenes to try and aid in the war effort, but historians and scholars are having just a field day with this treasure trove of information, trying to uncover the truth about the Vatican's role in those tumultuous times. At number 8, we have Anneliese Michel. Most of you have probably seen this image before. It's incredibly harrowing, really sticks with you. No amount of horror movie makeup can replicate just how disturbing the image of this poor woman is. The case of Anneliese is a haunting and very tragic tale that unfolded in the 1970s. Anneliese, a young German woman, experienced a series of alarming physical and psychological symptoms that were eventually attributed to demonic possession. Convinced that she was possessed by demons, Anneliese and her family sought help from both medical professionals and the Catholic Church. Unfortunately, her pleas for assistance were met with a blend of misguided religious fervor and a lack of appropriate medical intervention. Anneliese's condition just deteriorated rapidly, and she endured months of grueling exorcism rituals performed by 2 priests. The sessions were physically and mentally tortuous, with Anneliese being subjected to restraints, being denied food, and enduring countless hours of psychological torment. Although there are also stories about her even outright denying food herself, so there was definitely stuff going on here within her brain that just wasn't being properly diagnosed. Throughout this chain of sad events, Anneliese's health worsened. She became emaciated and weakened. The tragedy lies not only in this immense suffering Anneliese endured, but also in the lack of proper intervention. The case raised important questions about the kind of intersection of religion and mental health. It really highlights the danger of neglecting evidence-based medical treatment in favor of superstition. At number 7 on the list, we have a bit of a different one. These are documents and possible images that have been successfully hidden in the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly called the Vatican Secret Archive, which I like way better. I love the word secret is actually in the title. I didn't just add it for dramatic effect. We don't just hold archives here. These are secret archives. Anyway, this vast repository located within the walls of Vatican City houses an extensive collection of historical documents spanning centuries. While the term secret may imply sinister activities, the archive's purpose, as it's said, is primarily to preserve and protect sensitive or confidential material related to the Catholic Church. But there is definitely an allure about the unknown, and it's fueled various theories about the existence of possibly dark secrets concealed within those walls. Some speculate that the archive may contain controversial documents related to the church's historical controversies, like the Inquisition, the Crusades, and, as discussed earlier, some stuff about the role of the church during World War II, which came out fairly recently. Others propose that it holds hidden knowledge about the existence of maybe extraterrestrial life or ancient relics that challenge the established religious narratives, but hey, who knows? Next on the list, we have St. Joseph's Orphanage in Vermont. So we have a number of images from inside the walls of this notorious orphanage. They do have a certain old photograph creepiness about them, but for the most part, they're pretty innocuous, but it's the context behind these seemingly innocent photographs that makes them so uncomfortable to look at. Behind the doors of this orphanage were countless instances of mistreatment. Mistreatment is really putting it lightly. It was outright horrific what went on here, and when over 100 former residents of the orphanage came forward to make statements about how they had suffered as children in the facility, no charges were made, and the church had turned a blind eye to the cruelty the residents experienced at the hands of the nuns who ran it. The list of crimes committed are just too long to list, but it's so bad that there were actually children who lost their lives at this place, and not by accident. Some were pushed off boats. There's other stories about instances of being pushed out windows by nuns. It's infuriating hearing what went on here. This next image was an engraving by Bernard Picart, a draftsman, illustrator, and engraver from the early 18th century. This image here is his depiction of a torture chamber of the Spanish Inquisition. We see supposed heretics being suspended by ropes. One man has his feet being held to a fire. Picart created a body of work that challenged the religious norms of his time. His art often depicted religious subjects in unconventional ways that questioned the dogma upheld by the Catholic Church at the time. Picart's approach was met with disapproval a lot of the time and condemnation from the church, who considered his interpretations as blasphemous or heretical. But his willingness to depict religious figures and stories in a critical light led to his work being looked down upon and criticized by the church. Up next, we have this image. This is Dennis Rader, someone who upstanding members of the Christian faith would not be proud to learn that he is indeed a believer. Dennis Rader was a notorious American serial killer who terrorized the community of Wichita, Kansas from 1974 to 1991. What made Rader's case particularly chilling was the stark contrast between his heinous crimes and his seemingly normal everyday life. At the time of his arrest in 2005, it was revealed that Rader had served as a church leader, contributing to his image as this upstanding member of society. He was an active member of the Lutheran Church, holding positions such as president of the church council and leader of the Boy Scouts. Rader's role as a church leader and this image he upheld as being this dedicated member of his community only made it more of a shock when he was found out about his crimes. This guy, just an absolute monster. He did some incredibly twisted things that I just can't go into detail here, but just a reminder that no matter how decent people seem on the outside, there could be something much darker going on behind closed doors. Not trying to say you shouldn't trust anybody, just, keep your eyes peeled. Don't be too trusting. At number 3, we have the Salem UFO sighting. This photo may not look all that spectacular compared to some of the actual footage we've seen of possible UFOs today, but just keep in mind that this photo was taken in 1952. It wasn't doctored, and these mysterious glowing lights in the sky have never been explained. Photo was snapped by Coast Guard Officer Shell Alpert in Salem, Massachusetts. What makes this image really stand out is just how clear it is. It's not blurry. It's very obvious that there are 4 glowing discs hovering in the air. Now, in terms of why the church would have tried to hide an image like this, maybe people starting to believe in the presence of extraterrestrial life would have gone against what the Bible laid out, or really, I just put this one on here because it's an intriguing photograph. Number 2, let's change gears for a minute and take a look at a fairly recent image that made headlines when it was first shared on social media back in 2017. It didn't make headlines on major publications or anything, but it was all over the internet at the time. This image looks to be some sort of large winged thing. The picture was taken in Phoenix, Arizona by Richard Christensen, who's just as confused as everyone else as to what he captured on camera. Some said it resembled Mothman, but others said that this shadowy figure resembled an angel or even possibly a demon. Definitely looks more like a harbinger of doom to me. Of course, it could just be a trick of the camera or just an outright hoax, but I think it's a pretty eerie looking photo. And coming in at number 1 is William Tyndale. This image depicts the termination of William Tyndale, who was burned at the stake for doing what, you might ask? Turns out is translating the Bible into English. Yeah, as it turns out, what the Catholic Church was trying to hide here was actually the Bible itself. At least they wanted to keep it out of the hands of everyday people, anyway, which they believed would undermine their power. Tyndale believed that the Bible should be accessible to the common people in their own language, challenging the church's monopoly on biblical interpretation. His translation work, particularly the New Testament, faced opposition from religious authorities who sought to maintain control over religious teachings. The church considered Tyndale's translation as heretical, as it was in direct opposition to their authority, and his efforts were met with resistance, and he was ultimately arrested in 1535. In 1536, he was sentenced for heresy. He was sentenced and condemned to death by strangulation before being burned at the stake.
Starting us off at number 10 is an alien demon. This clip first surfaced back in 2019 after a woman named Vivian Gomez was checking her security camera footage one morning. In this clip I'm about to show you, there is a creepy, pale, gaunt looking creature who walks, or whatever you want to call it, across her driveway, and I mean, I don't blame her for being freaked out. So as you can see, there is a very weird little humanoid looking creature that would for sure make me question my sanity if it popped up on my security footage. Now, of course, when it was posted, there were quite a few people that pointed out how much this creepy creature resembles Dobby the elf from Harry Potter, and I mean, honestly, I kind of do see that. Also, that funky little chicken dance thing that it's doing is definitely not the most intimidating thing a demon could do. But the funny Dobby point aside, it's still a super freaky video that definitely makes me feel all kinds of weirded out. I mean, look at that thing. It doesn't look human to me, that's for sure. Plus, all we are seeing is the back. Who knows what its face looks like, let alone what it could be capable of. Let's just hope that whatever it is, it's not looking to hurt us. Next up at number 9, a river monster. Now, this video starts off a little differently from the rest on this list, but I still thought it was weird enough to add to the list for you guys. As you can see, there are 2 people at the top of a hill with a stretcher, and a group of people in what appear to be hazmat suits a little bit down a ledge from them trying to pick something up. Now, a group of people wearing hazmat suits in the middle of the day by the river is definitely a little unusual to begin with, but what's even stranger than that is what they appear to be grabbing. If you take a look at the clip, it looks like whatever they're grabbing is some kind of strange creature, potentially even a demonic one. Some people online said they thought it looked like a mermaid, which, I mean, is definitely one theory. I don't know, you guys, let me know in the comments what you think this creature could be. Coming in at number 8, a skeleton demon. Demons come in all shapes and sizes, but until today I had never really thought about one that looked like a skeleton. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just me. And hey, maybe it's not a demon, but then you can tell me what this creature might be. As you can see in the clip here, it looks like this came from some security footage, and right there, as you can see, is a creepy demonic alien skeleton thingy that will probably be etched into my brain for many days to come. But then something spooks it and it disappears behind a bush, and that's it. That's all we see of this terrifying creature. Now, some people online think this one could be a hoax, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Could that be a freaky skeleton demon coming to haunt you in your sleep? I sure as hell hope not. Next up at At number 7, a demon possession. Now, don't get me wrong, I love ooky spooky content as much as the next person, but that doesn't mean I'm looking to get mixed up with demons or hoping to catch one on a ghost hunt. These guys, however, posted a video of their ghost hunt a little over a year ago to YouTube entitled "The Scariest Video You Will Ever Watch." Now, that's a pretty bold statement considering what is on the internet these days, but to be fair, there is a pretty freaky moment where it looks like one of the guys gets possessed. So as we can see, the lights are flickering, classic demon stuff, and so they head into the room to investigate. But the creepy part comes when the guy holding the camera turns back and sees his friend with completely jet black eyes. I mean, if that were me in a haunted house with the lights flickering like that, I would definitely be running as far away as I could. But hey, to each their own. However, maybe the strangest part is that literally seconds later, it's gone and he's back to normal. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Was he being possessed by an evil demon? Coming in at number 6, a creepy crawly. This next one was posted to the YouTube channel Kisa Weba, and it's definitely what my nightmares are made of. All demons are creepy, but there is definitely something about one that's crawling on the ground that adds an extra layer of shivers down my spine. As you can see in the clip, this demon is crawling across the pavement, full horror movie style on their hands, and behind them it looks like there is this trail of like demon ghostness falling behind them, or maybe that's just the shape of the demon. I'm not totally sure. Either way, it is an incredibly demon-looking thing to me, but whatever it is, I would 100% not want to run into this on my nighttime walk. That is for sure. Next up at number 5, a pale creature. This next clip is creepy to say the least. It was first posted to Twitter by the username ParanormalityM, and it immediately had just about the entire internet freaked out. In this clip I'm gonna show you here, there is an almost ghoulishly white creature that is probably one of the most indescribable things I've ever laid eyes on. I mean, you take a look for yourself and see, right? Look at that thing. Do you get what I mean? Like, actually, what is that creature? Some think it could have been some kind of paranormal sighting, while others joked it kind of looked like Gollum, which, truth be told, I can kind of get behind. However, the resemblance to Gollum or not doesn't make this ghoulish creature any less freaky, or any less possible of being a demon capable of possessing you and ruining your entire life. Coming in at number 4, Voldemort Demon. This next video was posted by an account called Supernatural back in 2020, and before I get into it, let me just start off by saying that the first thought I had about this demon was that it looked like Voldemort. That or Emperor Palpatine maybe, both of whom I would prefer to whatever the hell is in this clip. So as you can see, as the camera starts coming into focus, a terrifying dark creature is standing at the very back of the hallway staring right at the camera. Now, something about the fact that it doesn't move almost makes it scarier, like I am just waiting for something super bad to happen. However, whoever was filming this apparently likes to live on the edge, as it looks like they actually start getting closer to this evil cloaked demon. But then, completely out of nowhere, this Voldemort demon straight up falls away and disappears. I mean, look at that. Like, what is happening there? If there is one thing that is scarier than seeing a demon, it's seeing that demon disappear and having no sweet clue where the hell it went. Coming in at number 3, Monster Under the Bed. Thanks to horror movies, there are many people out there who are nervous to sleep with their toes outside of the covers on the off chance that a demon will come and grab them in the night. And listen, I'm not saying it makes complete sense, but I'm also saying that I might be one of those people. Now, while I'm not 100% sure, it seems like this might be footage of someone that's being possessed by a demon. That or it's a humanoid kind of creature, but Either way, it's spooky and not anything I would ever want to come into contact with. In the clip here, you'll notice it starts on the bed, then is abruptly seen standing with its back to the camera before the clip jumps, and all of a sudden, this demon is shaking the bed by the bars like a maniac. This clip continues on to show the ghoulish white figure standing in the corners or contorted around the bed until maybe the creepiest part, when this demon looks as if it starts eating its own flesh? Listen, tell me what you see here. To me, this looks like a freaky demon possession that would 100% ruin my sleep. And if the demons that may or may not live under my bed are anything like this, then, well, let's just hope they leave me alone. Coming in at number 2, the floating girl. This next video was posted online back in 2017. However, according to the timestamp on the video itself, it looks like it was taken back in 1997. This section of the clip I'm gonna show you starts off with a woman who I'm going to guess is the priest or something, cracking what looks like a black egg into a bowl. I mean, already I'm confused, but that is quickly far less interesting as the possessed girl abruptly sits up and all you see are her piercing hollow black eyes. She drinks the egg concoction and then as quickly as she sat up, she throws her body back down into the bed. As you can see, things keep getting crazier. Her seemingly hollowed out eyes shoot back open and the next thing you know, she's floating off the bed. From there, her body starts slowly lowering down again until she grabs the camera and it goes blank. I mean, you guys are looking at the same thing as me here, and I have to admit that is some pretty freaky footage. And last up in our number 1 spot today, possessed by the devil. Not to be dramatic or anything, but this last clip I'm about to show you is utterly horrifying. I mean, honestly, I think that this clip is going to be seared into my mind for eternity, which is super fun. Like, just watch the clip here. Pardon me, the contorted face and body, the blood all over his mouth, and what was that evil laugh noise he was making? Also, can we talk about the ribs that may as well have been cracked open at the very end there? If there was ever a video to prove the existence of a demon possession, I would definitely put this video at the top of my list. That's all I'm saying, because really, I can't think of many other explanations for what I just saw.
Number 10, Legion. Jesus encounters a possessed man and calls on the demon to emerge, demanding to know its name, which is an important element of traditional exorcism practice. He finds the man is possessed by a multitude of demons who give the collective name of Legion. So, yeah, this demon is made of countless evil spirits able to incarnate into a physical body or separate into their respective forms at will. While the types of demons that make up Legion is unknown, they are said to be the same kind of demon that would inhabit a host and would have a single hive mind. Speaking of which, the demons of Legion do act like a hive mind, always speaking in unison and always knowing what the other demon is thinking and preparing to do. Legion appears as a floating sphere that is protected by an outer shell composed of massive innumerable humanoid bodies. This enormous lump of flesh conceals an inner core whose identity can vary. Legion, when possessing a human body, begins to torture the psychological person, making them have depressive and negative thoughts to erase any desire of life from its hosts. Their attitude of possessing human bodies is seen as a horrible act to most angels, as it deprives humans of their only weapon, free will. Number 9, Furfur. Furfur, also known as Furcifer, is a demon who is said to be the Count of Hell, leading 26 legions. He speaks in a hoarse voice, has a fiery tail, and usually appears as a stag. He is said to be able to make men and women fall in love and also has command over great storms. He gives true answers to all things past, present, and future, but he must first be commanded to enter a magic triangle, for if not, he will lie and deceive the conjurer. But if he enters the triangle, he will answer truly and gladly speak about divinity, the creation of the world, himself, and other fallen angels. He can also destroy all the conjurer's enemies by burning them up. And if the magician requests it, he will not suffer temptations from any spirit or in any form. Furfur can also supposedly be called upon when a mortal wishes to take vengeance on other demons. This is likely included in his capability to destroy the conjurer's enemies. And I just gotta say, how scary can a demon be if its name is literally Furfur? It sounds like a
name someone would give their cat. Number 8. Beelzebub. Beelzebub is a former Seraphian turned into high-ranking demon who is considered one of the 7 princes of hell and oversees the Order of the Fly. In Catholic demonology, he is sometimes considered to be one of the first 3 angels to fall from heaven, along with Lucifer and Leviathan. He is also often confused with Satan, and the 2 names can be interchanged. However, strictly speaking, they are 2 separate entities. Beelzebub is the chief lieutenant of Lucifer and is one of the most loyal. He is commonly described as placed high in the hierarchy of hell and is seen as being associated with envy. He is also the prince of false gods, and flies play a large focus in imagery detailing him. The malignant spirit can even take the form of flies, according to some. I mean, ever heard of Lord of the Flies? Yup, that's him. Number 7. Mammon. Mammon in the New Testament of the Bible is commonly thought to mean money, material wealth, or an entity that promises wealth and is associated with the greedy pursuit of gain. After the rebellion in heaven, Mammon was banished to hell, where he is the one who finds underground precious metals that his demonic companions used to build their capital city, Pandemonium, by Lucifer's order. Mammon counsels the devils to be happy with what they've got and to create a home for themselves in hell. He is one of the 7 princes of hell, each representing the 7 deadly sins. Mammon represents greed and is known as the treasurer of hell, and was said to have had dealings with the Greek deity Zeus. It is thought that when you make a deal with the devil for wealth and fame, you are making it with Mammon. Number 6. Belphegor. Belphegor is a demon lord that presides over the sin of sloth and is one of the 7 princes that rules hell. He also assists people to make discoveries. For example, he seduces people by suggesting to them ingenious inventions that will make them rich, and they wouldn't have to work hard for it. As one of the fallen angels, Belphegor was originally a member of the Order of the Principalities, and after his fall, he became a demonic counterpart to one of the 10 Sephiroth that oversee the Tree of Life. He is the biblical enemy of the 6 Sephiroth, the patron angel of beauty. It's said that if Belphegor were to become too influential in the world, then the beauty of it all would become tainted, causing ruination. Number 5. Leviathan. Leviathan became a demon of darkness and chaos and a leader of hell mentioned in the book of Enoch. Leviathan is one of Lucifer's arms and one of the many faces of the devil in Christianity. He is also the representation of the sin envy. Leviathan is a tamer of beasts, a beast collector, and an excellent strategist. He has the power to summon hellish whales that are natural inhabitants of hell and use them in battle. Leviathan appears as a huge sea beast, a very powerful species of a sea serpent dragon. This form is so colossal that it's said to be capable of frightening the bravest of men and is capable of swallowing fishing boats and even ships. Its scales are several small teeth throughout its body, similar to a shark's body. Now, in his human form, Leviathan appears as a handsome young man in his late teens. Although the appearance is similar to a human, he has fish gills on his neck and his ears are pointed. He also has a small shark-like teeth that are hidden under a thin layer of skin in his mouth. Like his name suggests, he is a very jealous person, with Lucifer often being the target though. It should be noted that Leviathan's jealousy isn't limited to only him, so you should watch out. Number 4. Lucifer. Lucifer was one of the most beautiful and indescribable beings created by God, with his wisdom and beauty being described as perfect. However, despite being considered a perfect, beautiful, and glorious being by countless angels, Lucifer was extremely proud and rebelled against his father after refusing to bow down to Adam and Eve. Therefore, Lucifer is known as the first sinner, the devil, and the adversary. Now, Lucifer didn't create any angels, only God had that power, but Lucifer did trick some of them into rebelling against God and becoming his followers, claiming that he was more powerful than God and would take God's place as the ruler of the universe. They believed him, and since then, Lucifer has used them to do his will. He's known for the deadly sin of pride, and he used his pride to persuade them. I will ascend to heaven, I will raise my throne above the stars of God, I will make myself like the Most High. Isaiah 14. Lucifer also sends the worst people up to earth to wreak havoc and terrorize everyone, as well as tries to tempt non-sinners to the dark side, so be safe. Number 3. Abaddon. Abaddon is considered the ruler of all demons in the 7th layer of hell, violence, and also the commander of the locusts of Abaddon. Now, what are the locusts? Well, they're scorpion-tailed warhorses that have a man's face with lion's teeth. They are commanded to torment anyone for 5 months who does not have the seal of God on their forehead by using their scorpion-like tails. So, yeah. He rules them. He has eyes as black as night and a huge mouth with many sharp teeth like those of a great white shark. In addition, he wears black armor and his wings have even turned dark. Abaddon is sometimes referred or foreshadowed as death, as they both are neutral entities of two opposing forces. He is also considered both an angel and demon with neutral and at times lawful agents of both heaven and hell. It is unknown where his allegiance lies. He's often bringing judgment upon people in the name of God, implying that he works for the Almighty. That being said, Abaddon has also caused events that God would never have wanted to happen, let alone the fact that Abaddon helped Lucifer during the war in heaven. Seems like he liked to play both sides. It's also said during Judgment Day he will gather the souls of the damned and carry them down to the place of God's final judgment. Number 2. Asmodeus. Asmodeus is a demon who personifies and represents lust, the sexual sin related to adultery. He is the demon who exists as the arch-rival of the angel of chastity, Gabriel. Asmodeus is also referred to as one of the 7 princes of hell and represents one of the 7 deadly sins, being lust. Asmodeus is a demon of lust and is therefore responsible for twisting people's sexual desires. It is said that people who fall to Asmodeus' ways will be sentenced to an eternity in the 2nd level of hell. He is also a demon of lechery, jealousy, anger, and revenge. In hell, Asmodeus looks human, however he has stark black eyes and 2 rows of shark teeth sticking out of his mouth. In this form, Asmodeus has no hair on his head, but has a muscular appearance from the waist up and 2 bat wings protruding from his back. From the waist down, he has what looks like kangaroo legs and a long dragon's tail. His horrible appearance is capable of causing fear and repudiation in humans who fall into hell, and that's the demon's intention. And coming up at number 1 is Satan. Satan is a prominent demon in the hierarchy of hell. He is known for bringing evil and temptation and is known as the deceiver who leads humanity astray. Satan is even able to take control of the life of a person in the stead of God, though only to an extent to what God allows. Satan would appear to those who are sinful, playing into their hearts and towing them into despair. He may either be depicted as a rebel to the will of God, or as one who tempts mankind to commit sin to show God that mankind can easily be led astray from him. He is described as the ruler of the demons and the god of this age. In Revelation, Satan appears as a great red dragon who is ultimately banished from heaven by Michael the archangel. Satan is mostly known as the devil, and although the book of Genesis does not mention him, he is often identified with the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Satan is also said to be associated with one of the 7 deadly sins, being wrath, and is one of the 7 princes of hell. Number 10. SS Watertown. In December 1924, James Courtney and Michael Meehan were crew members on the SS Watertown. They were cleaning a cargo tank of the oil tanker, and they were overcome by gas fumes, which resulted in both of their deaths. Due to this, the crew buried them at sea, but to their astonishment, the ghostly faces of the soldiers appeared in the water the next day. Yeah, like in the waves. Later on, many other crew members reported seeing the faces as well. The faces were so visible that the captain of the ship ordered them to take a picture of them to have for proof, so people didn't think that they were crazy. And this was smart, because if someone told me they saw faces of 2 dead men in the water, I would probably never talk to them again and think that they were cuckoo. Although, in the picture, you can clearly see 2 faces, which is just plain creepy. When the SS Watertown returned to land, the negative was even checked for fakery and proclaimed genuine. So yeah, just 2 faces chilling in the waves. No big deal. Number 9. The Nurse. This photo was taken in an abandoned tuberculosis hospital in Louisville, Kentucky called Waverly Hills Sanatorium in 2006. As you can imagine, many people passed away here, and it's rumored to be filled with paranormal activity. In recent years, it has become one of America's most popular destinations for ghost hunters. This image depicts a woman just standing to the right side, but when the photo was taken, no one was there. It was a ghost. It has been agreed among the paranormal community that the photo depicts Mary Lee, a nurse who took her own life in the hospital. The story goes this poor woman was impregnated by a doctor who worked in the hospital, but later wanted nothing to do with her. Nowadays, she wanders the halls of the hospital and interacts with ghost hunters. Number 8. Tulip Staircase. Reverend Ralph Hardy, a retired clergyman from White Rock, British Columbia, took this famous photograph in 1966. Originally, he only wanted to take a picture of the elegant tulip staircase in the Queen's House section of the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, England. And I mean, I don't blame him. they're pretty. But upon development, the photo revealed a shrouded figure climbing the stairs. It's strange and unsettling, and Ralph said there was no one else in the frame when he took it. Experts who examined the original negative concluded that it had not been tampered with. The vicinity of this staircase is rumored to be haunted, and unexplained footsteps have often been heard there, so it's most likely something supernatural who just wanted their photo taken. Number 7. The Brown Lady. The Brown Lady of Rainham Hall is a ghost that reportedly haunts Rainham Hall in Norfolk, England. It became one of the most famous hauntings in the United Kingdom when photographers from Country Life magazine claimed to have captured its image. According to the legend, the Brown Lady is the ghost of Dorothy Walpole, the sister of Robert Walpole, generally regarded as the first Prime Minister of Great Britain. She was the second wife of Charles Townshend, second Viscount Townshend, who was notorious for his violent temper. The story goes that when Charles discovered that his wife had committed adultery with Lord Wharton, he punished her by locking her in her rooms in the family home, Rainham Hall. According to Mary Wortley Montagu, Dorothy was in fact entrapped by the Countess of Wharton. She invited Dorothy over to stay for a few days, knowing that her husband would never allow her to leave, not even to see her children. She remained at the Rainham Hall until her death in 1726 from smallpox. This is just an extremely sad story, and I can't imagine her pain. The first sighting of the Brown Lady was in 1835, and the photograph was taken in 1936. Number 6. Falling through the ceiling. Back in the 1950s, the Cooper family from Texas moved into their new house. Once there, they took a family photo, which seems normal, right? Well, not for them. When the picture was developed, the image of a body falling from the ceiling was clearly visible. To be clear, no one fell from the ceiling when they took the photo, so what happened? As further investigation on the story has brought no plausible explanation, there exist many speculations, including one that argues that the shadow is the ghost of the previous owner of the house. But my question is, why is he falling from the ceiling, and why did he have to ruin that beautiful family photo? I remember seeing this photo on the internet when I was probably too young to see it, and after all these years, this image still gives me chills. Ugh. Number 5. Backseat Ghost. On March 22nd, 1959, Mabel Chinnery and her husband drove to the graveyard in which her mother had been buried. Her mother had died a week previously, and they were going to take photos of her grave, and they did. As Mabel returned to the car, she decided to use her last remaining shot to take a candid picture of her husband waiting in the vehicle on the passenger side. Nothing was out of the ordinary, it was just a random photo, but when the pictures were developed, one of Mabel's friends pointed out that someone, believed to be her mother, appeared to be behind her husband in the back seat of the car. Now, was the figure her mother or some other spirit? Who knows? I mean, they were in a graveyard, it could have been anyone or anything. The photograph itself wasn't seen in the United States until the story got a whole page in the Sunday newspaper. Mabel stated that the spot where the unexpected figure appeared in the back of the car is where her mother always sat when they went for drives, so it makes sense that it could be her. An unnamed photo expert is quoted as saying, "The lady in the back can't be the result of a double exposure. If it were, the doors upright wouldn't block off part of her face, and she can't be a reflection in the window either." So maybe it really is Mabel's mother. Number 4. Wem Ghost. On November 19th, 1995, Wem Town Hall burned to the ground in Wem, Shropshire, located in England. During the fire, Tony O'Rahilly, a sewage farm worker who was also an amateur photographer, was originally stopped by police from approaching the burning building. He took a picture of the blaze from across the street with a 200mm lens. It appeared to depict the image of a young girl in the doorway of the burning building. Now, to be clear, there were no injuries or fatalities from the fire. This was not a human. Locals who saw the photo believed it was the ghost of Jane Churm, a young girl who was accused in 1677 of starting a fire in the same town. The image of the girl in the doorway of the burning building was not noticed by Tony, the photographer, or the onlookers. It only appeared after the photo had been developed. I mean, if she was accused of starting a fire and then she popped back up in an area where another fire started, it seems like it really could be Jane. Number 3. The Spectre of Newby Church. The Spectre of Newby Church Church is the name given to a figure in the photograph taken in the Church of Christ the Consoler on the grounds of Newby Hall in North Yorkshire, United Kingdom. The image was taken in 1963 by the Reverend Kenneth F. Lord. As the figure appears to resemble a human, much speculation has been had regarding what type of person might be in the image. Most speculation by believers has concluded that it resembles a 16th century monk with a white shroud over his face, possibly to mask leprosy or another disfigurement. Others believe it looks like a plague doctor from the 16th and 17th centuries. Initial claims suggest that the figure would measure at 9 feet tall, but its feet are not visible, so it could easily be standing on a box, giving the impression of height. Some people thought the photo was due to double exposure, but photographic experts have concluded that the image is not the result of double exposure. So what was it, and why was it in a church? No one truly knows, but it's extremely frightening. What does it look like to you? Let me know in the comments. Number 2. Mystery Guest. On January 22nd, 1985, the Coventry Freeman organization and their guests stood in prayer during a dinner event. All the guests are still, and as it was a dark room, the photographer probably thought it would be the perfect time to allow for a longer than usual exposure to get enough light into the picture. Makes sense. Now, nothing was out of the ordinary at the time, but as people started to see the print of the picture, a mystery surfaced. Who was the robed figure standing near the end of one of the tables? No one had dressed up for the event, and no one remembers anyone standing there as they stood for prayer. The figure also seems to be taking part in the prayer, head slightly bowed, hands clasped in front. St. Mary's Conventry, Warwickshire is where the event was hosted. It has many legends of ghosts and paranormal activity, but I wonder why this being decided to join in prayer. It just gives me bad vibes, like evil lurks within it. And coming in at number 1 is the Young Boy. One of the most famous haunted houses in the United States is the Dutch Colonial House at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. The haunting stems from the night of November 13th, 1974, when 23-year-old Ronald Defoe ended the lives of all 6 members of his family. He was then arrested, convicted, and given 6 concurrent life sentences. In December of 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the house and claimed that spooky things were happening. For example, George would wake up at 3:15 every morning, which was the approximate time that Ronald committed his crimes. Kathy said she would feel a ghostly presence and be embraced by it. All of this and more caused the family to flee in fear after only staying in the house for 28 days, and honestly, I don't blame them. Due to this, demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren visited the house and set up time-lapse infrared cameras and caught this photo. The picture wasn't made public until 3 years later when George Lutz appeared on the Merv Griffith Show in 1979. Believers of the haunting think that the picture is the ghost of the youngest Defoe son, John Matthew, who was 9 at the time. Others believed it's a staged photo, but despite its controversy, this picture is one of the most frightening images from the Amityville horror. Number 10. Royal Air Force Squadron. This photo, taken in 1919, was first published in 1975 by Sir Victor Goddard, a retired RFA officer. The photo is a group portrait of Victor's squadron, which had served in World War I at the HMS Daedalus training facility. This isn't a normal photo though, as an extra ghostly face appears in the photo. In the back of the airman positioned on the top row, 4th from the left, you can clearly see the face of another man. It's said to be the face of Freddie Jackson, an air mechanic who had accidentally died from an airplane propeller 2 days earlier. And let me just mention, his funeral had taken place on the day this photograph was taken. Members of the squadron easily recognized the face as Freddie's. I mean, it was his funeral, he just wanted to be a part of the photo. It has also been suggested that Freddie, unaware of his death, decided to show up for the group photo, which is just sad. Number 9. Combremere Abbey Library. In 1891, Sybil Corbett took a photo of the Combremere Abbey Library in Cheshire, England. Sybil was an amateur photographer who allegedly set up her camera and took this hour-long exposure while at the funeral of her brother-in-law, Lord Combremere, was taking place 4 miles from the home. When the plate was developed, the transparent image of a man sitting in one of the library chairs was noticed. Many of the staff said the image looked like the late 2nd Viscount, and the apparition happened to be sitting in Lord Combremere's favorite chair. So, you know, it's Obviously him. It's thought by some that a servant might have come into the room and sat briefly in the chair, thus creating the image, but this idea was refuted by members of Lord Combriere's household. Lord Combriere's father, the first Viscount, had been involved in a mysterious incident himself years earlier while serving as governor of Barbados when he had the Chase vault opened and carefully examined in search of an explanation for the moving coffins there. Seems like him and his father have both had some paranormal experiences both in life and death. Number 8. The Watcher of Corroboree Rock. The rock formation near Alice Springs, Australia, known as Corroboree Rock, is made of dolomite that was formed more than 800 million years ago, and it's considered a sacred site by the Arrernte Aboriginal people. With that much history behind it and that much importance assigned to it, it makes sense that there's someone or something that looks over it. That's why the spirit is called the Watcher of Corroboree Rock. Now, no one really knows exactly who or what it is, but one photo of it dates back to the 1950s. In either 1956 or 1959, reports vary, a minister from Adelaide snapped the photo during a visit to the rock formation, and it's been puzzling people ever since. According to the minister, Reverend R. Lance, there was no one around when the photograph was taken, however, but when he developed it, the ghostly figure now seen in the image appeared. It's kinda nice to know that there's something taking care and watching over that area, no? Number 7. Leeds General Infirmary. Now, why wouldn't there be a creepy ghost photo taken in a hospital? With many patients' lives ending and beginning there, those places are full of spirits. Now, this photo isn't an extremely well-known ghost photo, but it's still creepy nonetheless. This photo was taken at Leeds General Infirmary by Andrew Milburn. The photo shows what appears to be a ghost nurse or patient fleeing into a room in a hospital corridor. Andrew took the photo to show his girlfriend where he was in the hospital and did not mean to capture a ghost. He didn't know this ghost was in the photo until he reviewed it more closely. Andrew had always been skeptical about ghosts, but seeing this figure changed his mind, and honestly, that would change my mind too. Number 6. Whaley House. Known worldwide as the most haunted house in America, the Whaley House is recognized for its historical significance in Old Town San Diego. They do haunted tours on the property, and this family went on a tour and got their photo taken. In the photo, you can see the brown outline of someone or something in between the two adults. Now, there are multiple people this could be. One of the most infamous ghosts in San Diego is the spirit of Yankee Jim Robinson. Yankee Jim was hanged in the house in 1852 after being convicted of stealing horses. Thomas Whaley himself, who owned and lived in the house with his family years later, had said they could hear heavy footsteps going up and down the stairs. Visitors have reported cold spots and the feeling of their chest and throat tightening while in the home. Others claim to have seen Yankee Jim too, an apparition that appears and disappears when you get close. This ghost in the photo could also be Thomas Whaley himself. Today, and for many years, visitors of the house have reported seeing Thomas. One guest waved to a man she said she saw standing in the parlor. No one else could see the man, but when asked what he looked like, she described a man wearing period clothing that resembled Thomas. Adults too have seen him wearing a frock coat and pantaloons standing on the second-story landing, and others have seen his wife, Anna, usually floating about in the garden or in the downstairs room. Her ghost, which appears white and billowy, seems to just drift about and then disappears. So with so much ghost activity in that house, I am sure it's one of those spirits. Number 5. Tantallon Castle. Tantallon Castle dates back to the 14th century, stands on a remote headland near North Berwick, and was badly damaged in an attack by Oliver Cromwell's forces in 1651. A photo taken there shows a ghostly figure. The photo, taken by Christopher Anachin in 2009, still remains an unsolved mystery. It's a photo of a man in what appears to be 16th century clothes. It's known that no mannequins or costume guides are used within the castle, and experts have confirmed through analysis that there is no digital alterations at play. Even skeptics have been left baffled by the image after tests confirmed no technological trickery is at play. Psychologist Professor Richard Wiseman from the University of Hertfordshire, who studied the picture, said the figure appears to be in a period costume, but we know 100% that the Tantallon Castle is not the sort of place that has mannequins or costume guides. Seems like an old spirit just wanted to take a look outside. Number 4. Nottingham Galleries of Justice. One of the best ghostly sightings caught on film is this spooky black figure photographed by Simon Brown, who is a qualified parapsychologist. He was spending the day at the old Galleries of Justice with his brother and was simply taking photographs of the building. Although Simon says he didn't notice anything while taking the images, when he downloaded them onto his computer, he noticed what appeared to be a black figure shadow that seemed to have walked through a brick wall. Staff at the galleries have corroborated Simon's story, saying that they too have seen similar figures and have experienced similar paranormal encounters, but have not yet been able to capture anything on film. They've seen ghostly apparitions, dealt with poltergeist activity, and had doors slam on their own. Simon also mentioned when discussing the figure that it appeared to be in turn-of-the-century prisoner dress, dragging a leg behind him as though he was in chains. All I can say is creepy. Number 3. New home. Buying a new house is a fun and exciting time. But what if you bought a house that you didn't know was haunted? Seems like that's what happened to Michelle midwinter. Michelle had bought a new house in England and she took a photo of it to send to her friends and family. She'd gone outside, snapped a photo, and returned to the inside of the house when she noticed a face staring back at her in the bottom right window of the house. I'm sorry, when you zoom in, you can clearly see a nose, eyes, and shoulders, and the face of a man staring back at you. Now, Michelle didn't pack up her bags and leave right away, which I'll never understand. Instead, she posted the image online and was eventually contacted by a historian local in her area who believed that the apparition in the image could have been a man known as Old Man Kent, who was thought to be a suspect in a death back in 1860. Initially, Michelle dismissed the image as nothing more than reflections and refractions of light from the flowers outside her window, but following further paranormal sightings and activity within the house, such as cold spots and lights flickering, it seems like Michelle is now a believer. I can't believe having to live in a house like that. Number 2. Bedroom ghost. In 2005, a teenage girl had just gotten her first digital camera. She was messing around, experimenting with the features, and taking photos of her friend Tommy. The two photos were taken seconds apart. The first was taken with flash and the second was taken without. When taking the photo, the photographer and her friend were the only people in the room at the time, but there's clearly another person in the photo on the right. It looks like an older person wearing glasses, and I mean there's clearly someone there. The girl said that unusual things were always happening in her family's house as there were noises and things moved. Maybe it was the spirit who was doing all this and decided to reveal themselves. If I took a photo of a ghost in my bedroom though, I would never sleep there again. And coming in at number 1 is the ghost in the water. In 2014, Kim Davidson was swimming in a lake with a friend and their combined 3 children. They went to Murphy's Hole in Lochar River in Queensland, Australia. While there, they took a photograph. Normal, right? But when the photograph came out, there was a ghostly figure of a girl behind the group who looked like she'd been leering behind the family. They said that there was nothing in between them when the photo was taken, and on close examining the image, they realized it was a white face with dark eyes and 2 horns on either side of the head. Its fingers are on Kim's shoulder and on the small girl's right arm. Kim posted it on Facebook, and upon seeing the image, many comments were made, some saying that the 2 horns looked like 2 ponytails or buns. A fellow user shared the story of Doreen O'Sullivan, a girl who accidentally drowned in the same creek in the same spot in 1913. Her obituary was found in the Brisbane Courier, dated the 22nd of November 1913. The notice reads that Doreen O'Sullivan, aged 13 years, the oldest daughter of Mr. James O'Sullivan, was accidentally drowned whilst bathing in the Lockyer Creek on Friday afternoon. Nearly an hour elapsed before the body was recovered. Now, the spot, which has always been considered dangerous, is known as Murphy's Hole and is over 20 feet deep. Upon reading this, Kim recollected that they had experienced strange things that day while they were swimming in water. She felt someone's presence behind her, but she ignored it. Twice, someone in the water even grabbed her elder daughter's leg. This made Kim believe in the presence of a spirit in the water. By looking at the picture, she was convinced that the unknown face was that of Doreen. Kim got 2 paranormal experts to check out the photo, and after investigating the photograph carefully, they concluded that the shape of the image was that of a child.